Hello, everyone. This is Robin Graves, and this is the late week edition of The World According to Graves, or as some of you see me on social media call it, WATG. Um, had an idea for today. I'm going to expand on that idea, though. Before I get started, though, hold on, my trademark sound. I love that sound. Little drink here before this stuff again. I don't know how you Southerners drink this shit. Anyway, I made mention yesterday of a rumor that I want to address today. The rumor is that Hillary Clinton's talking about running again for 2020. She said if Biden leaves, she'll jump in and she'll beat that bastard again. Got news for you, Hills. You didn't beat him the first time. I can't wait for you to come back in. This will be a repeat of 2012 and 2016. Believe me. Oh, excuse me, 2008. Excuse me. 2008. You didn't run in 2012. 2008, she left because it's too rough. They're treating me different because I'm a girl. No, they didn't treat you different than anybody else. You just couldn't take it, bitch. And in 2016, she ran and lost. So she runs this time. I'm hoping that she does. We're going to see the 3 strikes and you're out rule happen. Believe me, historically, any president running the second time or third time, whatever, always fares worse. Trust me. She won't win this time either. Now, the thing is the Democrat Party right now has decided that they're going to do the same thing they did with the Russian collusion, except with Ukraine, even though there's no evidence. And the Ukrainian Prime Minister even said there was no quid pro quo. He was not forced into doing anything. Now, Joe Biden is running his gums off, and I saw it this morning on the news, about how Trump is guilty of an impeachable offense of abusing power because he's investigating Joe Biden. Actually, Trump's not investigating. He just asked for the Ukraine to help with the investigation. This investigation actually started back in December of last year. It didn't start here recently. Biden doesn't want you to know that. He's actually very guilty of of abusing his power. If you watched the video before last, I believe I talked about this, and the link to him bragging like a drunkard in a bar about what he did is in the gosh dang, hate Windows 10, is listed in the comments. I meant to attach it to the video, but it wouldn't attach, so somebody else did it for me in the comments. It's been it was last week. It was 1, 2, possibly 3 ago, I believe. Anyway, Hillary's wanting to run. Well, let's do some history. Let's do some history about something very, very famous that the Clintons were involved in that they don't want you to know. It's been suppressed so far by the media over the past 4 years. It's been suppressed very massively. So this goes all the way back. I'm going to have to give you a little bit of history here. I've got it all here on the other laptop here. It's man, I don't know how she's gotten away with this. This goes right into anything that a politician does to get away with. No law is strong enough for them. Somehow, they're all getting away with a lot of things. What's his face? Jeffrey Epstein got away with it, with the police having evidence in custody since, oh golly, about 10 years before he was even arrested for this past time. In fact, one time he was arrested, turned evidence on somebody else, and he got let go, even though his crimes were much more prolific, let's say, all because he was a Democrat bundler. He gave a lot of money to the Democrats and everything. So a lot of his stuff was kind of swept under the carpet, much like the Clintons. So let me get this. Hold on. This goes back to holy crud. Let me get some stuff here going. A lot of this, to begin with, back in the 80s, had to do with the Inslaw case. The case contended that the major U.S. intelligence agencies stole Inslaw Inc.'s promised database management software, originally developed in the early 1980s to provide federal prosecutors with computerization to handle paper-intensive case management tracking. Inslaw says the government took promise and used it illegally. And without license, continually since 1985 on numerous sites and federal agencies throughout the government, including the offices of the Attorney General of the United States, the Honorable Mrs. Janet Reno. There is such history with that woman. Oh my God! I may be doing a video on her, just a little supplemental video sometime in the near future. I may not. Let me see what I can figure out. The company's then owner, Jackson Stevens, was the first major financial backer of Bill Clinton's campaign for the presidency. The Rose Law Firm represented Systematics, and during that era, its partner Hillary Clinton became something of an expert on the esoteric legal field of intellectual property rights and patent protection, while personally representing the Systematics firm. Okay. Now, mind you, at the time, she did not really, she was practicing law on a lot of these cases later on. She had no law license. It had been taken from her. She was disbarred, but she still practiced law illegally, and nobody did anything about it. Nobody would. So, anyway, let me get down to where this is at. Mena, a reporter, Gary Webb of the San Mercury News, alleged that when Bill Clinton was governor, Mena, Arkansas, was a CIA airport drop location during the Clinton presidential administration from 1993 to 2001. There were accusations that Clinton, during this time as governor, now these accusations came from a lot of people. Oh, wow. Most of them teenage girls from Little Rock, Arkansas. Time as governor of Arkansas and other high-ranking state officials were involved in some way with illegal cocaine importation, money laundering, and drug use centered upon the airport in Mena. Now, I used to live in southeast Oklahoma. Okay, don't judge me. I hated it there. But there in the Arklahoma area, eastern Oklahoma, western Arkansas, there was a saying for a long time. The saying was, "Don't cross the Clinton, you'll disappear." That was very commonly said by a lot of people. The Clintons have always been, in that area, they always knew what the Clintons were up to, but nobody would do anything about it. It was all considered hearsay evidence, non-admissible. So anyway, let's see here. In 1987, where a lot of this starts, February of 1987, Larry Guerin was killed while investigating the Inslaw case. Okay, hold on. August 23rd, Kevin Ives and Don Henry were both killed. The initial cause of death is reported to be the result of falling asleep on a railroad track in Arkansas. It's a little weird. This ruling was reported by the state medical examiner, Fahmy Malak. Later, it was determined that Kevin died from a crushed skull prior to being placed on the tracks. Don had been stabbed in the back. Rumors indicate that they might have stumbled upon a Mena drug operation. Now, this is the typical stuff that happens there. There was orders around the Mena airport. Anybody unauthorized, shoot to kill. That was actually there. I actually knew people who were detained for driving on roads close to the airfield by soldiers, State Guard, National Guard, and were actually questioned by people they said were possibly the CIA. They were in black suits. They were very official. They never said names, anything. It's very odd. Okay, here we go. 1988. November. Keith McCaskill was stabbed to death. He had information on the Ives Henry deaths. That's really funny how that went on like that. 1989. James Milam was decapitated. The state medical examiner, Fahmy Malak, initially ruled death was due to natural causes. He had information on the Ives Henry deaths. January, January, Gregory Collins died of a gunshot wound to the face. He had information on the Ives Henry deaths. I remember this guy because he actually went to the police to turn in evidence. I remember this happening. I lived there in this time. In April, Jeff Rhodes died of a gunshot wound to the head. His burned body was found in a trash dump. He had information on deaths of Ives Henry and McCaskill. I remember this also. The medical examiner said it was natural causes. Yeah, He died of natural causes, even though his body was found burned in a trash dump, and he had bullet holes in the back of his head, 3 of them. I remember this happening also. In 1991, January 31st, Alan Standorf, his body was found in the backseat of a car at Washington National Airport. Standorf was an employee of the National Security Agency and Electronic Intelligence and a source of information for Danny Casolaro, who was investigating the Inslaw, BCCI, and Standorf's. It's kind of funny that a lot of these people who were investigating Inslaw were killed. Well, excuse me. According to actual reports, a lot of them were natural causes or suicide. April 5th, Dennis Eisman was shot to death. He was an attorney with information in Inslaw. August, Danny Casolaro, a freelance reporter who was investigating the October surprise, Inslaw and BCCI, was found dead in a bathtub in a Sheraton hotel room in Martinsburg, West Virginia. He was found with his wrists slashed at least once, and possibly both were cut 10 times. They never come up with the right number of how many times his wrists were slashed, or which one it was. They left that really vague. All the research materials were missing and have never been found. That's what's really odd. 1992, July 30th, Victor Razor II. I remember this guy. I remember hearing about this on the news 3 times in 1 week. The news gave different reports on this. Totally different everything. He was a Washington lawyer, was counsel to the Washington law firm of Jones, Day, Rebus, and Pogue until 1991. Died in a plane crash. At his death, there was a national finance co-chairman of the Clinton for president campaign. Now, what's really odd about this guy is that he died in a plane crash, but they never found out why the plane crashed, and they gave different locations of where this plane crashed. 3 different locations, and they said they ran into a storm. They said it was instrumentation problems, and they said that it was mechanical problems. They never told the exact reason why the plane crashed. July 30th, Montgomery Reiser died in the plane crash, in the same plane crash as Victor, also involved in the Clinton presidential campaign. There was a time where a lot of people who had information or knew certain things about the Clintons or working with the Clintons disappeared. And the funny thing is that Montgomery Reiser actually had information, and I was talking to the FBI about the information he had on the Clinton campaign about some really weird money that was coming in. It could not be accounted for, where it came from, and he was actually told, "Do not mention the money." Period. Remember that. Let me get past a couple of these. Paula Grober, December 9th, back in, 1992. A Clinton speechwriter and interpreter for the deaf from 1978 until she died in a 1-car accident with no known witnesses. Funny because they actually found explosive residue in the car. That's odd. December 21st, Jim Wilhite died in a skiing accident. He was an associate of Mac McClarty's former firm, outside extensive ties with Clinton, with whom he visited by telephone just hours before his death. Yeah. Wow. Oh, golly. This goes on for a while. I'm not going to tell you one of them because there's like 60 so far. Whitewater. The Whitewater controversy began with the investigation of the real estate investments of Bill and Hillary Clinton and their associate Jim and Susan McDougal in the Whitewater Development Corporation, a failed business venture in the 1970s and 80s. In March 1992, New York Times article published during the U.S. presidential campaign reported that the Clintons, then governor and first lady of Arkansas, had invested and lost money in the Whitewater development. Let me get a drink here. My voice is starting to go here. Oh, wow. Whew, wow. See, this, oh, wow. 1993, this sort of starts getting really interesting. This is like the height of their killing career. I didn't say that. I'm sorry. I did not mean that. The incidents. Oh, geez. Steve Willis, Robert Williams, and Todd McKeon and Conway LeBlue died by gunfire at Waco. All 4 were examined by pathologists and died from identical wounds to the left temple. All 4 have been bodyguards for Bill Clinton, while 3 while campaigning for president, and when he was governor of Arkansas. They also were the only 4 BATF agents killed at Waco. Now, I find this very funny because same gunshot wounds, same locations, and they're the only 4 who were killed. Kind of, I'm not trying to start a conspiracy because I don't believe in conspiracy theories. I don't like wearing a tinfoil hat. It messes with my hair. But I find it funny that all 4 were killed on that same day at the same location, all worked for the BATF, and all 4 of them from the same bullet wounds to the left temple. It's a little strange. It's kind of coincidental. Let me see here. John Augustus Wilson died May 18th, 1993. Wilson claimed to have info on Whitewater, a political controversy that began with the real estate dealings Bill and Hillary Clinton and their associates Jim and Susan McDougal in the Whitewater Development Corporation, a failed business venture in the 1970s and 80s, and was willing to talk. He was found hanged, declared a suicide. This is a common theme with a lot of this. A lot of the killings. A lot of them were so-called suicides. Paul Wiltshire was found dead on a toilet in Washington, D.C. apartment 3 weeks after delivering a report to Janet Reno. He was the attorney investigating corruption and drug running out of Mena, Arkansas, with Casolaro, who was also sought to expose the October surprise. Yeah, that was odd. You know, all the accusations of drug running and money laundering at the Mena airport. Somebody had information on it, turned it in, and was found dead. Odd how that happens. One of the more famous ones, Vince Foster, July 20th of that year. Former White House deputy counsel and longtime personal friend of the Clintons was found dead of a gunshot wound to the mouth, and that was ruled a suicide. Foster was also from Hope, Arkansas, like Clinton, and also worked for the Rose Law Firm. Foster had intimate knowledge of the Clintons' personal finances. Foster was involved in an investigation of their finances and reportedly made a phone call to Hillary Clinton in Los Angeles just hours before his death, much like another person did who went skiing. Yes, very odd. Wow. Let me skip forward. Holy crud. Jeez. 1994, January 8th, Gandhi Bowe, attorney for Clinton friend Dan Laster, a convicted drug distributor, died by jumping out of a window of a tall building. Must have felt really a lot of remorse. Yeah, okay, whatever. February 8th, Bowe's partner committed suicide. Odd. March 1st, Herschel Friday, attorney, Clinton fundraiser, a member of the Presidential Campaign Finance Committee, found he died as his plane exploded. Just like a car. One-person collision. Car exploded. Yeah. Okay. March 3rd. Ronald Rogers died just prior to releasing sensitive information to a London newspaper. Cause of death? That was undetermined. I remember that happening. I do remember that happening. Anytime anyone was asked who would know about how he died was asked, they would actually say no comment and move on to something else. That's really odd. Oh, wow. Jeez. I live with Kathy Ferguson, ex-wife of Arkansas trooper Danny Ferguson, a co-defendant along with Bill Clinton in the Pamela Jones lawsuit, died of apparent suicide in her living room with a gunshot to her head. It was ruled suicide even though there were several packed suitcases, as if she were going somewhere. Kathy Ferguson was a possible collaborating witness for Paula Jones. Bill Schulten, Arkansas State Trooper and fiancé to Kathy Ferguson, was found dead of a gunshot wound to the back of his head. This is one that's really funny to me. The gunshot wound to the back of the head at the gravesite of his fiancée. Ruled a suicide. He had been vocally critical of the suicide ruling of his fiancée. See, there's a long history of things. And the latest one was, do you remember the guy who died in his prison cell, killed himself, supposedly? Jeffrey Epstein. The list keeps going on, folks. And people are wanting to vote for Hillary Clinton because they're big Hillary fans. Well, I guess this is what we're getting with the millennials these days. They're wanting to put their fans in office, whether they are qualified or not. See, the thing is everybody's always, all these people said when Hillary lost that people didn't want her because she was a woman. The same as the people who were vocal against Barack Obama. They didn't want him because he's black. No, the problem had nothing to do with the color or the gender. The problem was they were not qualified to run anything. Everybody's saying right now that let me turn this off real fast. I gotta save my battery here because I got some work to do after this is over with, and get this out of the way. Put my microphone back up here. That way I got room there with that. I need a bigger desk here, folks. So, anyway, just like with Trump, nobody wanted Trump. On the left wanted Trump because he wasn't part of the good old boy network. We get someone like Hillary, who's been involved with her husband in politics for, years. I remember when Bill was running, and I was thinking, Bill Clinton's running for president? And everybody's telling me, well, yeah, he's the Democratic Party's fair-haired boy. He's going to win no matter what. Well, he did win twice. Barack Obama got into office because he was black. Nope, he was put in because the Republican Party wouldn't put anybody decent against him. Who did they put in? They put McCain against him, and nobody wanted McCain. McCain was a rhino from day one. Kept calling himself a maverick. He wasn't a maverick. He was a rhino. He was all for anything leftist. He was nowhere near conservative. I don't care if he was a so-called war hero who started the fire on the plane by dropping it. He was too drunk to be in his plane. Dropped the bomb before it even took off, and it killed a lot of people. Well, he hid in a friggin' closet, and his father, an admiral, hid all the evidence against him. Yeah. See, this is what kind of people we have in our government. People that are being elected now, and stuff. Then we get Trump, who wasn't part of the good old boy network. People saying he's the worst president ever. How? Oh, he lied 1,000 times on record? Where? Show me these thousands of lies on record. Please, show me. I've asked people. Nobody can provide these for me. All they know is what's being said on CNN by people like Schiff, who's so full of Schiff it's not funny. The newest thing he's doing today, I saw him today on an article, a video, where he's doing the same thing he did during the Russian collusion investigation. I have evidence. I've got indisputable evidence. I've got hard evidence. Where is it? Where has this evidence been? You sure didn't show it last time. You're not going to show it this time. There is no evidence. Just like the whistleblower. They're set right now, the article in Drudge Report. I'm going to quit reading Drudge altogether because they're getting useless. He said the report is that they can't let the anybody know who the whistleblower is, and they've got him hidden because he's had death threats so far. How can he get death threats? Nobody knows who this whistleblower is, which Schiff lied and had was actually talked to this so-called whistleblower before, days before he filed any paperwork about anything, before he made the charges, to Schiff. And let me explain Schiff for 1 second. This is a guy who is head of our National Security Council or something like that. The people underneath him and everything, all of them voted. They have no faith in him whatsoever. Every one of them is unanimous. What did he do? Stayed with them. He's making them look bad. This shows me that Schiff is only one thing: a narcissist, big time. He wants to sit there, flap his gums, just hear his head rattle. And that's all he does on the news. He has no evidence. The whistleblower and everything, I have a theory who the whistleblower is. It's either several people in the deep state that got together and made up the story, or the whistleblower is Schiff himself. Now they're saying they got a second whistleblower who heard the conversation. Good, because the conversation has already been turned over without a problem. The transcripts of the whole thing, and even the prime minister of the Ukraine even came forward and said, nothing happened. There was no pro quo. He's not forcing my hand on anything. He's actually come forward and said that, but has the mainstream media told you that? No, they don't want you to know this. The only time this is ever said is whenever they're interviewing somebody who's on the right, who comes forward and says, this is what went on, then the media, the person interviewing them, will try to change the subject. I saw the same thing happen on MSNBC here recently. And it was funny, they started asking questions. The guy was answering questions, not giving the answers they wanted. So they kept giving the guy, the interviewee, a hard time. The interviewer was giving the interviewee a hard time. And the interviewee wouldn't back down. Kept answering the same question the same way. and wouldn't give the interviewer the answer he wanted. So I got one thing to say to all of you guys in the mainstream media: don't ask anybody questions that have answers you don't want to hear. You know, the thing is right now the media is the propaganda arm of the Democrat Party. And in 1950, I believe 6, there was a law started that was actually passed that no media can be a propaganda arm for any political entity. Barack Obama overturned that law with a single stroke of a pen, and now the media is the left's propaganda wing. And the only reason they're doing this is because it gets ratings. It gets ratings. Let's create controversy. Controversy is good. Controversy create. There's no bad controversy whatsoever. Your name gets out there. People will watch because it's controversial. Why the hell do you think I do this kind of shit? So, yeah, it's the impeachment thing and everything. They're wanting to push this harder and harder. And I'm sorry to get off the Hillary Clinton thing, but honestly, thinking about it gives me heartburn. They're wanting to push this whole thing about about impeaching Trump. Well, the thing is they can impeach him, but that doesn't mean he has to be removed from office. That's a decision to be made later, toward the end of the impeachment hearings. They're trying to pull this either to get rid of him because they're too stupid to do something different than what they have been doing, or they're trying to pull this little stunt where they're not going to do anything. They're not going to do any hearings. They're just going to make this drawn out for the next year, so that his name is out there as, oh, he's being impeached. Maybe we shouldn't vote for him. Maybe we should vote for Warren or whoever makes it to the primaries, which I believe is going to be Warren. To get Trump out that way. One of the two. That way they say it was a fair election. Okay, yeah. Anything that gets you guys in is fair. Anything that doesn't get you guys in is rigged. They're going to turn around, and if they do impeach him, they do go through the entire process of impeaching him. It should not take too awful long because we have everybody has a right to a fair and speedy trial. That's in the Constitution. But then again, when have I ever seen the left actually obey the Constitution, especially the ones we have in government now? So far all I've seen is everybody dragging their feet on everything. Now that I said this stuff about the left, I want to say something about the right. So I want to give them the equal amount of love I give the left. I have no faith in the right anymore. I have zero faith. Oh, yes, this is not an okay sign. This means zero also. And it's not a racist thing. It has to do with the fact that that's a zero. It's how much faith I have in the left. All I've heard is, well, we're investigating Hillary. We're investigating their actions. Really? How many of us out there would do 1/10 of what people on the left have done that the right is investigating and be out of jail? How many of us? We would be under a jail within no time. So far, all I've heard is how this is being done, that's being done, we're investigating, just give it time, we'll do this, we'll do that. I haven't seen you do anything there on the right, people. You Republicans, you're gutless, you're spineless. You sit there, you talk big time, and do nothing. At least the left is doing something. I don't know what they're doing. I don't think they know what they're doing. But at least they're showing some action, even if it's criminal. Look at Joe Biden. Oh, wow. At least they're doing something. You guys are sitting there talking about, we're against the left. I don't see you against anybody. You're allowing it to happen. To me, and it's turning out to be a lot more people are thinking this way too. Our government is so full of career politicians. They're so intermingled with each other. They're all making money. They're all getting rich of a political position that only pays $174,000 a year. How are they getting wealthy? Being in politics is not public service. It hasn't been in a long time. It's an e-ticket to a bullshit, cushy job for the rest of your life, and all kinds of money come into you. That's all it is. It does not mean, it's because this guy sits here and makes all these promises, how he's going to do this, he's going to do that, he's going to help you. Yeah, there's my camera. He's going to help you. When have they helped you? It's time to get rid of all of these people. Get some new blood in there. Get somebody in there who's not a career politician, that doesn't know the ins and outs, doesn't take bribes, doesn't know who to talk to about receiving lobbyists' money to make a decision in favor of a special interest group. You know, so look, guys, I've done enough ranting and raving for today. I'll talk to you guys next week, possibly Wednesday. Definitely next week, definitely. Where we come up with something probably a little more entertaining than what I've been talking about today. But you guys take care of yourselves. Leave a comment, subscribe. Even if you see this on a social media site, leave a comment anyway, just on the social media site if you can't bring it here. So I'll be catching you guys later. You guys take care and talk hard.